Kendall here with Lousy Llama Creations. Today we're going to be crocheting a hair bow. This is the ultimate beginner pattern. It is super easy, and if you are just learning how to crochet and you just want to dabble in, Peanut agrees, this is the project to do it with. You're going to be needing medium weight for yarn, although any yarn technically works. I recommend for beginners medium weight for acrylic. This video tutorial is specifically being made for my crochet kits. I built a kit that has all the supplies you need. So all you have to do is follow the tutorial and you get your own little hair bow. Supplies, you're going to need that medium weight for yarn, a tapestry needle, and scissors. You're also going to be needing a hair tie or a barrette or something of the sort. I'm using these small hair ties because I have thin hair. You might want a thicker hair tie if you want to put all your hair in it, or a barrette. All right, let's jump right in. We're going to start with the top part of the bow that makes the round, actual looking bow parts. So we're going to start with our yarn. We're going to make a slip knot. If you made a slip knot before, it's exactly like making a slip knot for anything else. We just want to make sure we leave a little bit of room at the end so we can hide this and our piece won't come undone. I like to make my slip knots by twisting and pulling through. It should come undone when you pull it. Again, I twist and pull through. This is my tail, the end that's cut off. I'm going to leave that on my hook side hand. I want to take my hook, put it through, and tighten it. You don't want it too tight that you can't move it, but you don't want it so loose that it comes undone. You just kind of want it snug, like this. There's two main ways of holding a crochet hook. One's like a pencil, one's like a knife. I do a knife. Do whatever's comfortable for you. Do a variation of the two. Come up with your own variation. I generally don't tell beginners to focus on a certain way to hold their crochet hook, because at the end of the day it doesn't matter as long as you can crochet. I hold mine like this. I usually extend my finger and kind of hold my loops a little bit. You'll see it's kind of helpful later, but not necessary. We're going to start by chaining 45. If you've ever started crochet, you're like, I know a little bit of crochet, you probably know what a chain is. That's when we take our yarn and we're going to pull it through this loop. We do this thing called yarn over, which is when we place the yarn on top of the hook and we pull through. Like that. I'm holding my yarn in the other hand. Again, 100 different ways to hold yarn. Do whatever's comfortable for you. I like this finger here to control the tension, because if you don't, it kind of gets loose or tight in certain areas. I like all my chains to look the same. That was one chain. So we yarn over and we pull through. I twist my hook down so that it doesn't get stuck when I'm pulling it through. That's 3, 4, 5. Your goal is to make them look as similar as you can. You don't want to pull super duper tight, because later we're going to put stitches and our crochet hook back into these loops. So you kind of want some wiggle room. But of course, you don't want it too loose that it all comes undone. This is the loop that's attached to the chain and my hook. I like to keep that pretty snug and then pull through. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You do have some extra yarn in your kit. If you're following from one of my crochet kits, you can also pull this apart and start over again. Doesn't matter. Whatever it takes to get you comfortable. But also know, if your chains aren't perfect, it's totally okay. Once we add the stitches, you can't tell quite as much. That was 10, so let's do 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Of course, I'm going to go faster. Pause the video at any time and catch up. You're all good. I've just made chains a million times, right? So I'm going to go a little faster. That was 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. If it's uncomfortable using both hands like this, you can also physically place the yarn on top and pull through. It's not going to be quite as natural, but it gets the job done when we're still learning. That was 42, 43, 44, and 45. Now we have this worm. It's very cute, but we need it a little thicker. Now instead of continuing in this direction, we're going to turn and start working in the other one. So I'm holding my project, and this was the very last chain that we made. Ignore it. We don't like it. We don't need it. Well, we do need it. We don't care about it. We're going to literally ignore it and go into the next one. So ignore this and then stick your hook into the next chain. So technically speaking, there's a proper place to put in your crochet hook. I'm going to tell you as a beginner, it doesn't matter. Just get your hook in there. You can go through both. You can go through one. You can do whatever. I just recommend keeping it consistent so it looks the same. I'm going to push my hook in. I'm going to tighten it. Do that yarn over we know how to do and pull through so that you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through both loops. That's a single crochet. We're going to do that all the way down this row. So in the next chain, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, so you have 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and again. We can see it's starting to actually look like crochet. It's starting to get a little thicker. Again, obviously I'm going faster. Pause the video, take your time. It doesn't matter, we're not in a rush. We are learning how to crochet. I'm gonna go all the way down the row, so go ahead and pause the video. I'll show you how to get into the very last chain so that we can make sure we don't skip any. I'm almost to the end. If you've skipped a few chains or you put 2 stitches in one, that's totally okay. We're just learning. This project is flexible. So if you added some more or lost some stitches, it's totally okay. We're just learning. I'm almost to the end here. I got a couple more. I wanted to show you my last one. The last one could be tricky because you're also looking at the slip knot. This is my last chain. This is the slip knot. We don't need the slip knot to do anything. We're not going to put our hook in there. We're just going to put it in our last chain. If I counted the top of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, it would add up to 44. So we had 45 chains, we ignored that very first one, and we went all the way down. So we have 44. We have our skinny little worm, but it's getting bigger. To make it bigger, we're gonna add another row. And to do that, we're gonna do 1 chain, that yarn on top and pull through, and we're gonna turn our work. My hook is staying in my dominant hand and my project's in my left, in my non-dominant hand as I continue on. And now we're going to do another row of single crochets. We're not doing anything with that chain. We're going to go on top of the last single crochet we made. You want to make sure you're going through both of these loops. Not just the front one, not just the back one. You want to go through front. From the front through both. So I'm going to insert my hook. through the front, through both, and do that single crochet. The yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And then on to the next one. We want to make sure we go through both loops from the front. Just like that. The second row is always easier because it's a little easier to see where your stitches are versus on a chain. So you're going to keep on going through both from the front all the way down. Coming up on the end again, I got 3 more. My last one, I can still see the front loop and the back loop. I want to make sure I go. This was our chain from before. We don't need to do anything with it, but you do want to make sure you get that very last stitch, or else your project, instead of going straight, will start to turn in. Again, for a bow, it's not that big a deal if your edges are a little uneven, especially for this part, because we're actually going to sew it into a circle so you can't see the back. But it's just good crochet skills as we move forward. This was our second row. We're going to do this for a total of 6 rows. So we're going to do that chain 1 again, flip our work, and work down the row again. This is row 3, and you're going to want to do this for a total of 6 rows. At the ends of that row 6, we're not going to chain, and I'll show you how to finish it off. But since you already know how to do this, go ahead and pause the video and complete 6 rows for this bow. Here's my final piece of ribbon. It's going to form the bow where you like pinch in the middle. It's 6 rows, so I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To finish our piece, we're not going to do a chain. We're going to cut this yarn and fasten off. Make sure we have a couple inches. I usually do like a foot of yarn extra because we don't just cut off the yarn and call it a day. We have to do something with this yarn. So I'm going to cut it, fasten off, which is when we take the loop on our hook, and make it not a loop. Just pull it through. Now our piece is like officially finished. With this side, I'm going to hide the tail. So I'm going to put my tail on the tapestry needle. And I'm going to weave my tail into the fabrics that you just made so that it doesn't come undone. If we cut the yarn now, it would probably come undone. So I like to poke mine through the stitches. It's all the same color, so it's okay if it shows a little. And I like to go in 3 different directions. So that was 1. Let's go up here. And then let's go like up here. That way for the piece to come undone, it's going to have to go through 3 different directions and then through the knot. So finish pulling through. Don't pull too tight because then you're going to lose that shape. I'm going to throw my scissors on the ground. I'm going to trim it. Pretty. This side, we're going to do something a little different because we're going to use it to sew it in that circle. So I'm going to put it on my tapestry needle. I'm going to fold our piece in half so the edges line up. And I'm going to sew it together. You can sew it any way you want. It's not going to show. It's not going to matter. I like to go around, around, around. You might want to go back and forth. It really doesn't matter as long as it is nice and secure. Just like that. I like to make mine nice and even, so I'm going to go right there. And we're going to weave in that tail again. So we're going to go in one direction, up in another direction, and then through another. And then trim it. And our first piece is done. See, now if we pinch it in the middle, you can see it looks like a bow. To do the dangly pieces, it's very, very similar. With my yarn, I'm going to start with that slip knot. And exactly like the first piece, we're going to chain 45. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 42, 43, 44, 45. Just like our first piece. And exactly like the first piece, we're going to do those single crochets in the other direction. So we skip that first one, insert our hook, and make those single crochets all the way down. For our top part of our ribbon, we did it for 6 rows. For this one, we're only going to do it for 4, so it's actually a little easier. So at the end of this row, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and continue for another 3 rows so that you have a total of 4. If I am going too fast, please, please, please pause the video and go back to the first part of the bow. There, you will do the exact same thing. You're just going to go to 4 rows instead of 6. Here's the end of my bow. I'm going to do the exact same thing of cut the yarn, fasten off. This time we're not going to sew it in a circle, but we're going to weave in both of the ends. I honestly think weaving in the ends is the worst part about crocheting. So once you master that, it's easy peasy. It's a lot easier for like 3D shapes, like little animals and things. With flat objects, it's a little bit more difficult just because you really have nowhere to hide them. So you just have to make a conscious effort to hide them and make sure they're really secure. Then I'm going to trim. Woo! Okay. That and this were the 2 hardest parts. So now we're going to make that little piece of yarn that goes in the middle. To do that, I am going to chain 10. So I have my slip knot, putting in my hook, chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we're going to turn the other direction and do 3 rows of single crochet. So skip that first one. So now we're only doing 9 because we did 10 chains, skipped 1, that leaves us with 9. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Chain 1 and turn. Do this for 2 more rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And 1 more row. All the way down. Okie dokie. Weave that tail. I'm just going to weave in one of these. I'm just going to weave in this one. The longer one I'm going to use for sewing in just a moment. So let me weave this tail in. gonna do one more. Cool. And I'm gonna trim it. Now we have this little piece. I'm gonna grab my hair tie and we'll stump it all together. Okay, I have my hair tie. I'm gonna take my long piece of ribbon. I'm gonna place it inside my bow. Make sure it's nice and even. And then this is gonna go around with the hair tie in it. So let me put the tail on my tapestry needle. I'm gonna hold and flip because I want to sew it on the back just so it doesn't show. Pinching it all together. First I'm going to slide my hair tie onto that small piece of ribbon. I'm going to pinch it together and sew. Making sure I don't get anything stuck together. I'm pinching really tight just because I want the bow to have that little pinch in the middle. So I'm going to go around a couple times. I'm making sure I'm only going through that small middle piece. You could technically sew through the whole thing. I decided I like the look better when it's just the middle piece, and then I can slide the hair tie around to where I like it. For example, I can pull it back. Okay, I'm going to hide this tail, which is easier, since we have more room to work with. I'm going to 1 and 2. Now I am kind of going through all the layers, but that's okay. The hair tie is where I like it, even if I get it stuck on other pieces. I'm going to do it one more. You can never be too safe with weaving in your tails. Do it as many times as you think it's necessary. I promise you it is better to do it a lot versus a few, because then all your hard work's gonna fall apart if you weave in your tails incorrectly. Okay. And there you have it. You have an adorable little bow with a hair tie. I'm using a small hair tie because I just want it to be like a little accessory to the back of my hair and not like a full ponytail thing. But you can use this, you can use barrettes, you can use bigger ponies, whatever you would like. But that is how you crochet this little hair bow. Thank you so much for joining me today as we crocheted our own little hair bow. I hope you have a great time making these and you do it in all the colors that you want. To stay up to date on all things Lousy Llama, please follow us at TikTok at Lousy Llama Creations so you can stay up to date with all of our brand new kits and patterns and sales and everything fun happening. The holiday season is upon us and we got some new kits to launch. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel so I can continue to make more crochet kits and more crochet tutorials for everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Kendall and I will see you in the next video. Bye!